Hello everyone, how are you all? Dear Shillong students, I would ask you to report your attendance, please. Good evening, Shillong students, how are you? I would ask the Shillong students to please report their attendance. All the centers, please report their attendance quickly. All right. The centers, please report your attendance. Good evening, Shillong students. How are you? Okay, so we are going to start now. All right. Yeah, I think there was some issue with the connectivity. Yeah, now I can see you. Okay, thank you. All right, so now you can get back to your seats. So let us do a quick revision of what we did yesterday. So yesterday we were talking about the kinds of inflorescences. Okay, so by kinds of inflorescence, I mean what are the different types of arrangement of flowers present in the plants. So basically there are two broad categories. One is called racemose, other is called cymose. In racemose inflorescence, what is happening that you see is that the growth axis of the plant is indefinite, and because of this indefinite inflorescence axis, the flowers will continuously bloom as the floral axis is growing upwards. So we saw in those examples that I gave to you, okay, there are many examples of all these. So starting quickly from simple raceme 1, 2, 3, 4, it is growing upwards, then 5th flower, 6th flower, 7th flower, 8th flower, and so on. So let's say in some extreme cases about 20 flowers might be present, or more can be also present. Normally about 10 to 20 flowers are present in this fashion. So this is simple raceme. Example is mustard, radish, two examples that you need to learn. After that we have compound raceme, in which this flowering axis undergoes branching, and on this smaller branch a small raceme inflorescence will be found. So this is the compound raceme. Okay, so there are branches and this is the main flowering axis. Main flowering axis or primary rachis, 1 degree rachis. This is the secondary flowering axis. You can call it secondary rachis, on which new racemes are present. Branch of main axis. Okay, so there are multiple branches here, and each branch there is a small raceme. That is why we call it compound. Compound means more than one. Okay, so multiple racemes are formed in acropetal succession. The floral axis is growing up like this. Okay, so the floral axis is growing up, and this is how these flowers are present. Spike inflorescence. So in case of spike inflorescence, Achiranthus aspera, a long flowering axis is there. Okay, and on this long flowering axis, number 1, 2, 3, 4, sessile flowers are present. Okay, sessile flowers are present. Okay, sessile flowers will be present. That means that there is a long flowering axis. Number 1 flower, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like this. Like this. Okay. So this is what is happening here, right? All right. Continuing, there is a spike of spikelet inflorescence in which each spikelet resembles a single spike which is borne on a long branched inflorescence axis. So this is branched spike inflorescence. It is called a branched spike. Okay. Example is wheat. Okay, wheat shows spike of spikelet, and rice also shows this example. Now I had asked you to label the parts of spikelet flower: gloom, lemma, pallia, on. So have you done your homework? Raise your hands if you have done your homework. Have you completed your homework? Yes? No answer? Okay. Have you completed the definitions of gloom, lemma, pallia, on? At least I expect that you have completed the definition of gloom. Have you done it? At least say yes or no. I'll include this in your notes. Okay, I'll be giving you a notes. A PowerPoint presentation will be there in which you have lots of images, and just take a look at those images. You will get the labeling part. Okay. You haven't been answering. I'm not sure. Have you completed your homework? Yes or no? I did not get any message from your chat. I guess there is an issue with the chat. Give me a second. I'm asking the technical team to work on it. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, the chat is freezed. Give me a second. Okay, all right. And now I can see your messages. So you haven't been able to do it? Okay. So I'll give you the image, the actual image and the diagrammatic image, and I'll also include the definition for you. I'll do it for you. Okay. So I expected you that at least please do some things. I'll give you very little homework. Please try to do it. Okay. I give you very little homework compared to the other teachers. So at least try to complete it. Okay, but I'll do it for you. Spadix is a modification of spike inflorescence. It has a long fleshy axis. This fleshy axis remains enclosed by one or more large brightly colored bracts called spathe. Example is Palmaceae, Musaceae, and Araceae. Okay. Then we have corymb inflorescence. Okay. Corymb inflorescence, what happens here is these older flowers have longer pedicel stalks, while the younger flowers have shorter pedicel stalks. So all of the flowers appear to be on the same level. Okay. So I'm sending some notes to you, class 11th. Okay. So I'm sending some notes for you. Okay. So this should suffice for you at present. Okay. I have included a PPT for inflorescence, cymose and racemose, and in that you can open spike inflorescence, spike of spikelet inflorescence, all those you can open. So in slide number 14, you have gloom lemma palea. Okay. I have sent a PPT to you all on your WhatsApp groups. So take a look at your WhatsApp groups. Okay. Yeah, I have sent some notes for you. I have sent some notes for you, and you can take a look at these. Okay. In slide number 14, you will get the answer for your homework. What is gloom lemma palea on? Okay. Then there is spadix inflorescence. Spadix is a modification of spike. Okay. And there is something called spathy there. Then there is corymb inflorescence. Then there is umbel inflorescence. So corymb is flowers on same level. Umbel is flowers on different level. Sorry, different level in umbrella shaped pattern. Simple or compound umbel can be present, and umbel is characteristic feature of umbelliferae family. Then there is catkin inflorescence, in which the inflorescence axis is weak, so flowers hang downwards. Then there is one more type of inflorescence called the head or capitulum. So I think I did not give it to you yesterday. Head or capitulum inflorescence. Okay. In this type of inflorescence, the inflorescence axis is elongated. Like this. It forms a cup or saucer shaped pattern like this. And on this, you have individual flowers which are called florets. These are ray florets. These are disc florets. Okay. This is a type of racemose inflorescence only. This is a type of racemose inflorescence only. Okay. Now let's complete the cymose inflorescence today. I told you that there are two types of inflorescences of cymose. Uniparous cyme, it has two subtypes, helicoid and scorpioid. So in helicoid, what is happening? Flower is coming on one side only. Why I do call cymose as limited inflorescence? In this flowering axis grows up, bears a flower, then stops. Now it has another branch coming sidewise. In this branch, another flower will come. And here also it stops, it does not grow vertically. Then this new flower that is coming, it bears another flower and then it stops. So you can see number one flower, number two flower, number three flower. Okay, so it is going like this. First this flower is there, then there is a branch. From this branch, one flower is coming. Third flower, fourth, then fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, like this. So it is running like a staircase. Helix. Okay, so it is running like helix. Get like a spring. So we call it helicoid cyme or bostrix. Example is Hamelia juncus. Scorpioid cyme. Scorpioid cyme. What happens in scorpioid cyme? What happens in scorpioid cyme is successive lateral branches develop on both sides of the main axis in alternate fashion. So one flower comes like this and it stops. There will be another branch from this, smaller flower will come like this. Another branch, new flower. Another branch, new flower. So here it is not, flowers are not growing on one side. So when it is right, next time it is left, then right, then left. So it is continuously growing up like this. All right. So we did this today. Example is heliotropium. Then there is biparous cyme, multiparous cyme. That is all we need to know about inflorescence. All right. So inflorescence is over. Now let us move on to the next topic, which is parts of a flower. Parts of a flower. Okay. Now flower has 4 parts. A complete flower has 4 parts. And what are these 4 parts? Or 4 whorls. It will be better to say whorls. These whorls are calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. Okay. Now, normally calyx out of these is green in color. We'll describe all these whorls. We'll describe calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. So first of all, let's start with calyx. Now, what do you understand by calyx? What do you understand by calyx? Yes? Okay, calyx refers to, please write. Calyx refers to outermost protective word of a flower. The members of calyx or unit of calyx is called sepal. The members of calyx or unit of calyx is called sepal. Okay. Now let us see what calyx is. Any flower that you see, it normally always shows some outer green colored structures. Like this. Like this. Okay. Now this part that I refer to, that you already know, and it's no need for me to describe in great detail. This is the calyx. Now if I separate the units of calyx from all the other units, it will look something like this. It will look something like this. So if I spread them out, if I spread them out, it looks like this. And this is single sepal. Single sepal. In some plants, they may be separated from each other like this. Like this. They are separated from each other. So you can easily take them out. In this condition or in this condition, they are fused. If sepals are fused, then you call it gamosepalous condition. Gamosepalous, what does gamosepalous means? Sepals are fused. If they are free, like this, sepals are free, then you call it polysepalous condition. Gamocephalous and polycephalous condition are present. Function of calyx. Function of calyx. Main function is protects the flower in bud stage. Protects the flower in bud stage. Okay. Then let us move on to the corolla. Please put the heading. Corolla. Corolla. Corolla is composed of petals. A unit of corolla is petal. Unit of corolla is petal. Now it is the second world of the flower. Normally the main function of the corolla is serving for protective function, decorative function. Okay. Corolla is the second whorl of the flower. Second whorl of the flower. Main function is corolla is to attract the pollinators. Attract the pollinators. Now you can write also here. Corolla is normally colored. So if it is white in color, then it will be pollinated in the night. If it is pollinated in the day, then it will be colored in any color other than white color. If it is white colored, for flowers, pollinated in night, during night time, and brightly colored for day pollinated flowers. Okay. All right. So let's move on. You already know this. But there is one more thing that we need to do now. Now we have to describe the estivation of calyx and corolla together. And we have to define one term also. If all the petals are fused, just like for calyx we did, if all the petals are fused together, if all the petals are fused together, you call it as gamopetalous. If all the petals are free, then you call it as polypetalous. Then you call it as polypetalous. So there are two conditions here, poly or gamopetalous. All right, so let's put the heading estivation of calyx and corolla. Estivation means arrangement of calyx and corolla members. I hope you have written. Should I move on? Should I move on? I guess you have. All right. Estivation. Now what is estivation? So please write it. The pattern of arrangement of sepals or petals in floral bud of sepals or petals in floral bud with respect to other members of the same whorl that is arrangement of petals with respect to other petals same whorl is called estivation. It is called estivation. So what are the types of estivation? Types of estivation. So the number one type of estimation is value weight estimation. Value weight estimation. Now what does value weight estimation mean? Value weight estimation means this. We are talking about calyx or corolla. So if it is mentioned for corolla, do not think that it is not true for calyx. It is true for both. Okay. So what is happening here? Any petal or sepal does not come in direct contact, or the margins do not come in contact actually with the other members. It is called this is called value weight estimation. So what you can do is, by a pencil you can draw a circle and then rub some margins. Number 1 petal, number 2, number 3, number 4 and number 5. Like this. Like this. Like this. Like this. So value weight estimation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals, 5 petals or sepals or 6, any number, they are not touching each other. It is not necessary that the sepals or petals should be 5 or 4 in number. They can be any number, but that their condition is the margins remain more or less away from each other. So please write it quickly. When margins almost touch each other without overlapping, when margins of sepal and or petal touch each other, without overlapping, it is called value weight estimation. So we will see this value weight estimation in the families that we are going to study. In the families that we are going to study, we'll study this. This is all about value weight estimation. Second type of estimation is twisted estimation. In twisted type of estimation, what happens is one margin remains above the other. One margin remains above the other. Like this. Like this. Like this. So yeah, it's a diagram that I can think it expresses it. One margin is coming above, one margin is below. Each petal or sepal has one margin above, one margin below. Okay? Alright. So please write it. If one margin of the petal or sepal, if one margin of the petal or sepal overlaps the other one, and the arrangement is like this, that the overlapping is on both sides. Okay, the overlapping is on both sides, but the main thing to remember here is that only one margin will remain above, the other will remain below. Okay, overlaps the other one with one margin above and the other below. All right. So that's how you understand what twisted estimation is. Okay. Now we'll see these examples in the families of angiosperms, the three families that we have in course. Okay. So when I say twisted estimation there, you will immediately understand that I'm referring to this kind of situation. Okay. When I say valvate estimation, you'll understand what it is like. Now let's move on to the next type of estimation. That is, it's a bit complicated. Yeah. Imbricate estimation is completely complicated kind of situation. Let me explain. In twisted estimation, look at this diagram. Okay. So I have drawn it like this. If somebody wishes, they can do it in the reverse fashion. I am drawing it in a clockwise rotation. Clockwise rotation, I have drawn it. If somebody wishes, they can also express some flowers in which anti-clockwise arrangement of petals or margins, sepal or petal margin is there. So the thing is, here in twisted estivation, it can be either clockwise or anti-clockwise. But suppose there is another kind of estivation in which some margins say that we will do it in clockwise pattern, and immediately in that same flower, some margins decide that no, we will go in anti-clockwise pattern. So there will be total confusion. So this is this type of arrangement, which is called imbricate estivation. It has both clockwise and anti-clockwise arrangement overlapping patterns. So take a look at this. This petal or sepal cannot decide which way to go. It's in between. I'll explain when we complete the diagram. Okay. Now this one is going in clockwise pattern. This one also. Alright. Now there is this third petal which is also going in same fashion, like this. Yeah. In the same fashion. Like this. Now there is the fourth petal which decides that we will not go in this fashion. We are changing it. And in the fifth petal, you can see it completely. Some petals are there in clockwise pattern, and some petals are there in anti-clockwise pattern. From the third petal, from the fourth petal, this arrangement changes completely. You can also say in this type of arrangement, one petal has both margins which are on the inside, and one petal has both margins on the outside. Okay, so the margin of one petal will be completely inside, and the margin of other petal will be completely outside. Both are different petals. So please write it down. If the margins do overlapping in such a way, if the margins overlap in such a way that some are in clockwise direction while other is in anti-clockwise, others in anti-clockwise direction, it is called imbricate estivation. Okay, so we're done here with imbricate also. Fourth and the last type of estivation that we have to study, and it deserves special mention because this is very, very important. Let me draw some stars over here, some asterisks over here, which is extremely important. And this is the vexillary estivation. You will get maximum questions from this type of estivation. So never forget the diagram, never forget what families it belongs to. Okay, so this is the most important estivation. Vexillary estivation, you will definitely get a question in one form or the other. It is extremely important to the degree that we have to learn the name of the petals of all the 5 petals. All the 5 petals that are here in this estivation, we have to learn the names of that also. In NEET exam, they ask the name of this one anterior petal or posterior petal. So you have to do this also. Okay. So let us first draw the diagram. Diagram is very easy. You draw a hut-like structure like this. You draw a hut-shaped structure like this. Like this. This is the second petal, third petal. Like this. And then like this. Like this. We have to learn the names of these petals also. That is also important for us. So what is happening in vexillary estivation? This is, I'll name these petals. This petal is the standard petal and it is the largest petal out of all these 5. Standard petal. Largest. The 2 petals on the side, on the lateral side, okay, the lateral side petals are called the wings. Wings. On the bottom, okay, are the smallest petals called keel or carina. Now there are 2 things. This side looks like the like it's the bottom side, but it is called the anterior side of flower. Anterior side of flower. This side is called, the upper side is called the posterior side of flower. Anterior side, posterior side. So which will be the anterior petal? Keel. Which will be the posterior petal? Standard. Lateral petal, everybody knows. Okay. So how can you write about vexillary estivation? Please write with me. There are 5 petals. There are 5 petals, and out of which the largest petal, called standard, is present on posterior side okay. Give me a second. All right. And there are the standard petal covers, the standard petal covers the 2 lateral petals called wings. Okay. And the smallest petals are the keel or carina, which are present on the anterior side. The 2 smallest petals are fused together the 2 smallest petals called keel or carina are present on anterior side and form a boat-shaped structure. It is a boat-shaped structure. Okay, we call it keel or carina. So by this we have finished the estivation of petals or sepals. Okay, and estivation is a very important part, and out of which vexillary estivation is the most important part. So that is why I've stressed so much on this. Okay, so finish it quickly. Okay. So let me know when you have done. Let me know when you're done. Okay, all right. So now we have completed calyx, corolla. Now the third thing is androecium. So let's put the heading androecium. The male reproductive part. All right. Now in androecium, we do not study estivation, but we study another term which is called cohesion of androecium units called stamens. So first of all, let's write what is the unit of androecium. We call it stamen. The unit of male reproductive part is called stamen. You can write it in bracket. What is a stamen? Stamen consists of two parts, anther and filament. Microsporophyll. Now, the pollen grains are produced in anther. Pollen grains are produced in pollen chambers inside anther lobes. Continuing, if stamen is fertile, then it's okay. But then there is another term, a 1-number question. What is staminode? If sometimes pollen grains are not produced and the stamen is sterile, it is called staminode. If stamen is sterile, then it is not called stamen, but it is called staminode. It is called staminode. Now there are terms related to stamens. Where is stamen? It is attached to, is it attached to thalamus? Is it attached to petals? So there are some terms related to it. If stamen is attached, epipetalous condition. If we are not mentioning any term, then that means petal is not attached to stamen. Stamen is normally present on the thalamus only. But if epipetalous condition is given, what is epipetalous condition? You will write, a stamen is born or it is attached to the petals it is called epipetalous condition. Okay. Then there is another condition, a term which is normally asked in NEET examination, epitepalous or epiphyllous condition. They use very less epitepalous term, they use more of the term epiphyllous. So please write. In some plants, petal and sepal is fused together. If petal is fused with sepal, it is called tepal. So if stamen is attached to tepal, it is called epitepalous epiphyllous condition. And what is tepal? Tepal equal to petal plus sepal fused together. All right. Now there is another heading that we have to do. Cohesion of stamens. Cohesion. Cohesion of stamens. Look, androecium is made up of stamen, and cohesion means attachment between members of the same term. There is another different term called adhesion. Adhesion means attachment between different members, different things, like Fevicol. Fevicol is going to stick paper to thermocol, wood to thermocol, or anything else. You can stick any two things together with the help of adhesive. So there are two types of forces in physics between particles, and in it's a physical terminology that cohesion refers to cohesion refers to attraction between similar molecules. Adhesion refers to attraction between molecules of different substances. So if it is between water and water, cohesion. Between water and cellulose, for example, it is adhesion. So if we talking about cohesion of stamens, then that means stamens arrangement by, if they are attracted to each other, so they will form a single group, what will you call it? If stamens are formed into multiple groups, so what are the terms related to that? We have to study it. Cohesion of stamens or unity of stamens. How are they united? Okay. So there are some terms related to it. First term is monoadelphous. 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 So please write about it. The stamens may be united. The stamens may be united into, what is cohesion of stamens? Unity of stamens. Into one bunch or one bundle. It is called monoadelphous condition. Example, hibiscus. All the stamens are united together in one bundle. Then there is biadelphous, diadelphous, or polyadelphous. So if there are two bundles, diadelphous. 5 bundles or more, polyadelphous. So we have to learn these terms. Diadelphous condition. The stamens may be united into two bunches or two bundles. Example, pea or pisum. Pisum is the botanical name. So in pea, what happens is, one stamen remains separate. This is first bundle. number 2, number 3, number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All these stamens remain separate. So this is first bundle. And this is second bundle. Second bundle. Diadelphous condition in P. All right. The last androecium topic is polyadelphous condition. Polyadelphous condition. So what is polyadelphous condition? The stamens are united into multiple bundles. Okay, more than 2. Example, citrus. So you have to learn this. Look, diadelphous condition in P is important. Diadelphous condition in P is important. So now I think a small part is remaining. So the next class we will definitely complete it. So I was thinking of completing, but yeah, it cannot be completed today. Only families of angiosperms and gynoecium placentation remains in this chapter. Everything else is done. So the next chapter, in the next class when we meet, we'll complete gynoecium. Today we completed calyx, corolla, and androecium. Gynoecium, placentation, and all those things we will discuss. Angiosperm families in the next class. So these are the only things remaining in this chapter. Okay. All right. So thank you, dear students. Thank you for your time. I'll see you in the next class. Travel home safely. Thank you. And good night. Thank you.